Hey YouTube, Jason here with Day Trading Fearless. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. Make sure you guys hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. And also check the links down below for the S&P Emini Futures Trade Zones. $50 for a lifetime subscription. 1 point pays for itself. And then also my Patreon page where you can follow along with my stock option and dividend portfolio. Only $8 a month for that. Again, link down below. But as always, let's jump right into this video. In this video, we're going to talk about the different time frame market profile charts. So let's jump right in to the charts. Now, you can have multiple market profile charts, and it all depends what time frame you're looking at, what type of trader you are. There's no right or wrong way, no one way, yes, no, things like that. Remember, all of this is very subjective. But what we're looking at is a 20-day, 15-minute market profile. I want to look at the bigger picture. Let's pull up the S&P E-mini futures, okay? Let's clean up all this line. And this is over the last 20 days. Now, every day one drops off, right? It'll change the profile, right? Because if this day will get dropped off tomorrow, right? And within a week, all this will be gone because we'll have more days, new days over here. And so this will no longer be relevant. So that will always be changing. This chart's changing, but it's amazing how crazy it'll reflect today if it drops, right? If price comes down, I wouldn't be surprised if we come right down to this 41.23 level and then we bounce, okay? Just because it's a high volume node. Remember, high volume node, high volume node, high volume node, low volume node, low volume node, low volume node. Remember, market profile is trying to build a picture. And a lot of times we'll see price come directly to levels and they'll either bounce or things like that. Look at this low volume node and we just missed it barely, right? The low of here. Even you could say came overshot the high volume node here and then had a little bit of a bounce. All market profile is doing here is cleaning up this picture. It's starting to draw in, right? So as price is going sideways right here, we're just drawing all this in to have a nice looking clean bell-shaped curve like we do over here. So this chart is just a pure volume profile, okay? When we have Fibonacci levels over here, the point of control, in our value area high and low. So we're just going to use these levels as support and resistance. Meaning if we come down here, I'll probably look to be a buyer somewhere down in this level over here because you have a low volume node here, right? High volume. We have a triple bottom, but I would find the very first retest of these levels, maybe the buyers come in because it's also at the point of control, or sorry, the value area low, which gives it major confluence levels, right? So as price comes down, I'd probably be looking for a bounce. We're already oversold for the day. I think that would be a good buying opportunity. That's the way I would read this chart. That's all I'm trying to show you for education purposes is the way to read these profiles, right? So that's a 15-minute market profile chart. Now let's go look at a intraday 3-minute profile. Okay, now this is just showing, and this is again a regular volume profile. Okay, I have a VWAP, I have a 50%, some fib levels here. Okay, but this is just a regular trading hours, what's been happening since the market opened at 6:30 my time. I'm in Las Vegas, right? So price sells off, right? Tries to go sideways. We have a little bit of high volume node, low volume. But now what's happening is with this chart, we have a bear flag, right? And price looks like it wants to go lower. 70% of the volume's traded here. Now, Think of it this way, right? Our job is to try and figure out what price is doing. Do we have excess down here? No. Do we have excess up here? Yes, because if you think about it, the excess is the wick, right? So we already kind of made that quick excess to the upside, but on the downside, there is no excess, right? It's like double bottom, right? Just so there's really no excess. And that is what creates our B-shaped pattern that I talked about in the previous video, right? It looks like this, which you could say is a bear flag, and will probably go lower to either create excess or keep falling till it finds buyers and then maybe make another distribution and then bounce back and trade within the different distributions. So that is another way of looking at this chart. Now, I personally love this for scalping intraday, especially the S&P futures, because it just tells me what's going on, right? And I'm able to kind of go, okay, hey, I think it's going to do this. I've seen this pattern before. Think of it this way. Have you ever gone to like one of those outdoor fairs and there's somebody on the ground drawing a picture and there's a group around and everybody's trying to figure out what the guy's drawing, and then all of a sudden you start to see, oh, look, there's a moon. Oh, it's space. Oh, wow, he's drawing planets, right? The more he goes in, the more the picture goes. Well, it's the same thing. And look at this. Here's our break in real time to the downside, right? Our bearish pattern, it's now creating excess. Now the question, does it just keep falling and keep going, or does a reverse come back up and start to kind of draw all this in and make this look like a very clean bell-shaped curve, right? Because we'd have excess here, excess up here, and we'd have a nice profile. I don't know yet. We need to see what happens. You have to be patient and wait for the charts to kind of play out. So that's a 3-minute chart. I love that for intraday scalping. Now let's look at another chart, and this is going to be a daily chart. Okay, this is a volume profile chart. Okay, with a daily, it's a 2 or 1 year daily. This is showing us all the price action over the last 1 year. Now, on the bigger picture, remember, with the TPO, we actually had a little bit of excess. With the volume profile, we didn't have excess. So this auction probably is not over yet, but we do have excess down here. Now, remember, as these days fall off, this will change how the market profile works, right? Or looks like. But as of right now, we have a high volume node. We're below it. I actually wouldn't be surprised if price keeps falling and comes at least down to this level where it would draw. Let me do a price level, right? Come to this low volume node, right? Because it's also a gap. Remember, low volume nodes are also very little volume or time traded there, or it gapped up. And so I wouldn't be surprised if price came down, okay, and would try and probably first come here and then bounce and try and clean all this up to start to fill all this in and make it look like a very clean volume profile, right? Kind of like we have here. Remember, price, it's kind of crazy how price is able to draw these pictures when it's meant to be so random, if that makes sense, right? I really don't believe it's random, but if we break this low, okay, now we're making lower highs, lower lows. I wouldn't be surprised if price came down to eventually fill this gap, clean up this market profile, and then maybe make it look like this, because this was probably a gap at one time, but then price came back down and started to fill in, and that's why you get a little price action there. We might do the same thing. So that's it with that type of market profile. And let's take a look at one more chart, okay? And let's take a look at a 30-minute, okay? This chart is a 30-minute TPO market profile, Okay, and with this chart I don't have the value area highs or lows, but it just gives me a little different look. And this is based on the 30-minute chart. I could see a little bit of excess here, right? And this is for the last 20 days, right? If I want to change that, I could come over here and say, hey, let's look at a 90-day 1 hour chart. Okay, and look at this. We're way below this. We have a little bit of excess right up here. And so maybe we keep falling down and coming back down and we see a different picture, right? Maybe we get stuck at this high volume node and then we start to bounce and clean up and start to build this volume profile out. So I hope this kind of helps you guys understanding building profiles and all that and understanding how to trade these. So that's it for this video. Next video, we're going to talk about a 5-day chart for putting up naked VPOCs and gaps and all that. So we'll talk to you in the next video.